Picture this. It's Tuesday morning, you've had your coffee, you're clutching your bag, and you step into the office elevator.
Okay, I'm with you.
You press the button for the 10th floor, and just as the metal doors are sliding shut, that slow, heavy slide, a hand shoots out. The doors bounce back open, and a neighbor steps in. Or, maybe a colleague from a different department, someone you sort of know.
The sort of no person. The worst.
Exactly. You've nodded at them near the mailboxes, you've seen them in the cafeteria,
Yeah.
but you don't know them. The doors finally close,
Ah.
and then you just silence.
It's the absolute worst kind of silence.
It's heavy, right? Just the mechanical hum of the elevator rising. Whir, clunk. You watch the digital floor numbers light up one by one. 1, 2, 3. It feels like an eternity.
The air in that little box, it feels pressurized. You feel this intense, almost biological pressure to say something.
Anything, just to break the tension. But your mind goes completely blank. You are like panic searching your brain for a topic. You can't ask, how's your divorce going?
No, definitely too personal.
You can't say, who did you vote for? That's a war zone. You can't just stare at them. That's creepy. So you just stand there sweating, praying for the 10th floor to arrive.
That specific silence is, I think, universally terrifying. It's a social pressure cooker. You feel the need to acknowledge the other human being standing 2 feet away. It's a basic human instinct, but the stakes feel strangely high for a 10-second interaction.
That is where most of us freeze. We default to staring at our phones or, pretending to be fascinated by the elevator inspection certificate.
Been there?
But what if I told you that the solution to this agonizing ride, and actually the absolute key to unlocking social interaction in English, is something most people write off as a boring cliche?
Ah, you're talking about the weather.
I am talking about the weather, but not just, oh, look, rain. We're going deep today into why weather talk is actually critical social survival skill. We're unpacking a fascinating guide featuring English instructors, Emma and Daniel, who break down the mechanics of natural small talk. And here's where it gets really interesting. They argue that weather talk isn't just about meteorology.
No, not at all.
It's not about barometric pressure. It's a code.
It is absolutely a code, and I think that's what makes this deep dive so valuable. We often think of learning English, or any language really, as just memorizing vocabulary lists.
Sun, rain, cloud, hot, cold, check, check, check.
Right, you memorize the list, you pass the test. But what Emma and Daniel are getting at in this guide is that the weather is the tool we use to signal friendliness, to gauge the mood, and to connect without vulnerability. It's a distinct strategic social tool.
So the mission for today is, well, it's simple but transformative. We want to take you from being someone who just knows the word for rain to someone who can casually and confidently break the ice in that elevator.
And express feelings and sound like a native speaker without having to mentally diagram a sentence first.
We want you to feel comfortable.
And we're going to do that by looking at the specific structures, the grammar under the hood, the common mistakes that give learners away, and I guess the social psychology behind why we talk about the sky so much.
So let's start with the why. Why the weather? Of all the things in the universe to discuss, sports, food, politics, the latest viral video, the meaning of life, why is the weather the default factory setting for English speakers?
Why do we always go back to the sky?
Yeah.
The source material hits on something really profound here. Daniel, the instructor in the guide, he describes weather as safe, neutral, and shared.
Safe, neutral, and shared.
Okay. And if you think about it, those 3 adjectives are the holy trinity of small talk.
Let's unpack those one by one, because I think shared is the most obvious, but also the most foundationally important one, isn't it?
It really is. Think about that elevator scenario again. You and your neighbor might have absolutely nothing in common. You might be from different generations, different political backgrounds, different economic classes. I mean, maybe you love heavy metal and they love classical opera. But if it is pouring rain outside,
You are both getting wet.
you're both getting wet. It's the one objective reality you are both experiencing in that exact moment. You don't have to guess if they are experiencing it.
They are.
Precisely. It requires 0 background context. I don't need to know if you follow football to talk about the rain. I don't need to know if you have kids or cats. The weather is the immediate, physical, shared reality.
So it bridges the gap.
It bridges the gap between 2 strangers instantly because you are both physically present in it. It's the only thing you know for a fact that you have in common.
Which brings us to safe and neutral. And in today's world, this feels more relevant than ever. Almost every topic feels like it has a landmine hidden in it somewhere.
That's a great way to put it. You ask about someone's job. So how's work? Maybe they just got fired.
Oof.
Maybe their company is going under. Suddenly you're in a really heavy conversation you didn't mean to start. You ask about their family. Maybe they're going through a divorce or struggling with something personal. Those are high-stakes topics.
Even sports can be dangerous. If you start complaining about the local team and it turns out they're a diehard fan, you've started an argument before the doors even open.
Right. But the weather. The weather requires zero personal vulnerability. Nobody is offended by a cloud.
No.
Nobody has a political stance on the temperature. That's the key takeaway here. When you say nice day, isn't it? You aren't really asking for a meteorological report. You aren't asking for data.
You're sending a signal.
You are sending a coded signal that says, I am friendly, I acknowledge your existence, and I am harmless.
It's like a social handshake. Or, I don't know, holding up a white flag of truce.
A digital handshake is a good analogy, actually. It's a low-stakes way to verify that the communication channel is open. If you smile and say, it's freezing today, and the other person just grunts and looks at the floor,
You have your answer. The server is down.
the server is down. You've pinged them and got no response.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's fine. You know not to push further.
Right.
But if they engage, if they say, I know, I can't believe it's this cold in April,
Mm-hmm.
then you've established a connection without risking anything personal. You haven't offended them. You haven't pried into their life. You've just shared a moment.
The guide mentions this works everywhere, right? It's not just elevators.
Oh, everywhere.
It's standing in line at the grocery store. It's waiting for the bus. It's passing a neighbor while you're taking out the trash.
It's the universal lubricant for social friction.
I love that.
It is. And I think for a learner or anyone trying to master English conversation,
Mm-hmm.
shifting your mindset is the first step. You have to stop thinking of weather talk as boring filler. You have to stop rolling your eyes at it. You have to start seeing it as a polite opener. It's a functional tool. You don't have to actually care about the humidity levels.
You just have to care about the connection. That's the distinction. You don't have to be a weatherman. You just have to be a human who wants to say hello.
So, okay, we know why we do it.
Mhm.
Now let's get into the how, because I think this is where a lot of people trip up. They understand the concept, but when they try to translate their thoughts from their native language into English, it comes out sounding, well, a little robotic.
Or just slightly off.
It's just off.
This is where we get into what the source material calls the golden formula. Emma and Daniel, they highlight one specific grammatical structure that is the absolute backbone of English weather talk.
Okay.
It's deceptively simple, but it's the difference between sounding like a textbook and sounding like a native.
Okay. Lay it on us. What is the formula?
The structure is, it is plus adjective.
It is. Two little words.
Hmm.
But they are doing a lot of heavy lifting here, aren't they?
They are doing all the work. In linguistics, we often call this the dummy subject or the dummy it.
Dummy it. That sounds a bit harsh.
It's not an insult. It just means that the it doesn't actually refer to anything concrete. Think about other languages. In Spanish, you might say fa sol. In Italian, fa freddo.
Mm-hmm.
In many languages, the subject is implied, or the noun weather is the subject. But in English, we have this strict structural requirement to have a subject, even if the subject doesn't really exist.
So we use it as a placeholder. It's like the scaffolding holding up the sentence.
Exactly. I like to think of it as a coat hanger. You can't just throw the adjective on the floor. You need the hanger, the it, to hold it up.
That's a great visual.
So we don't say sun is shining in casual conversation. That sounds poetic, or maybe like a news headline. We say it's sunny.
We don't say wind is blowing.
We say it's windy.
And the source emphasizes that native speakers rarely just say the noun, right? If you walk outside and just say sun, people will understand you. But
Right, it sounds like you're pointing out an object, like a toddler pointing at a dog. Dog, sun. To describe the state of the weather, the atmosphere, we almost always use it's plus adjective.
it's sunny today.
Yeah.
It's cold outside. It's really windy. It becomes a rhythm. It's a heartbeat.
And that rhythm is flexible. This is where you can start to, show off a little bit of time travel. You can swap the timing effortlessly.
Oh, right. Like moving from the present to the past.
It was cold yesterday. Or projecting into the future. It's going to rain tomorrow. It stays the anchor.
The it is constant.
The verb changes slightly, but the structure remains the same.
This brings up a concept called chunking, which I think is a total game changer for learners. The guide mentions this specifically.
Oh, chunking is vital for fluency. Instead of trying to translate the weather is word for word, which takes brain power and slows you down.
It's so much mental energy.
It is.
Fact.
So the guide suggests learning its as a single block of sound, a single chunk.
Like a Lego brick. You don't build the brick. You just grab the its brick and snap an adjective onto it.
Precisely. If you treat its as the starting block for every weather thought, you bypass the grammatical processing time. You stop thinking about subject-verb agreement and you just speak.
It's hot. It's nice. It's wet. It becomes automatic.
It has to become automatic.
But even with this simple formula, there are traps. The source guide points out some specific translation traps that learners fall into. And I bet a lot of our listeners are nodding their heads right now because these are mistakes that feel logically correct but sound wrong to English ears.
Oh, absolutely. The biggest one mentioned, and I hear this constantly from students, is the phrase, "Today is hot."
Today is hot. I hear that all the time too. And honestly, I understand it perfectly. It makes logical sense. The day is hot. So why is it wrong? Or at least, why does it mark you as a non-native speaker?
Well, it's not that it's incomprehensible. If you say that, I know what you mean. It's just not how English speakers view the relationship between time and condition.
Interesting.
We don't usually attribute the temperature to the day itself as a subject in that way.
So today is hot sounds like you're giving the day a personality. Like, today is angry.
A little bit, yes. Or it just sounds like a direct translation from a language where the time marker can be the subject. In English, we use the it structure to describe the condition on that day.
So it's hot today.
It's hot today is the natural phrasing. The correction is so simple. Just move the word today.
Move today to the end. It's hot today. Or it gets to the very beginning. Today, it's hot.
Exactly. But keep the it is together. That's the key.
Got it. What about the other common mistake? The one involving rain.
This is a classic. The weather is rain, or the rain is.
The rain is why.
Exactly. It leaves the listener hanging. Rain in English functions as both a noun and a verb. But when we talk about what's happening right now, we use the verb form in the continuous tense.
Right. The ing form.
It is raining. So saying the weather is rain sounds like you are defining the concept of weather.
Like a dictionary definition. The definition of weather is rain.
It sounds clunky. No, just stick to the it is formula. It's raining. It's snowing.
It really does all come back to that formula. If you master it is, you solve 90% of these problems.
You really do.
Now, let's talk about pronunciation for a second. Because you can have the grammar perfect, you can have your it is ready to go, but if the sounds are off, it can still break the flow of that elevator chat.
The guide highlights two specific words that really trip people up. The first is windy.
Yes. The wine versus wind debate.
This is a vowel issue. Many learners see the I followed by N and their brain goes to words like find or kind or mind.
Looks the same.
It looks the same. So they want to say windy.
It's really windy today.
Which sounds like you're talking about a beverage. Or maybe that the day is full of wine.
Which would be a very different kind of weather report.
A very different conversation, exactly. But in this case, it's a short vowel sound. It rhymes with pin or spin. Windy.
It's really windy. Listeners, try that right now. Just whisper it. Windy. Not windy.
And the second one is the word weather itself. It contains that tricky the sound, the voiced the.
The bane of existence for so many learners, the th. It's such a rare sound in world languages.
It is difficult. The mistake is often substituting a V or a D or even a Z, saying Vether or Zedder or Dudder.
How do we fix that? What is the mechanic of the mouth here?
It requires sticking the tongue out slightly between the teeth. You actually have to bite your tongue a little bit. And then, this is the crucial part, you have to vibrate your vocal cords. It's voiced weather.
So it shouldn't buzz against the lip like a V.
No lip contact, just tongue and teeth. Weather. If you are touching your lip, you're making a V or F sound.
Weather. Okay, that's a good drill. So we've got this structure. It is. We're avoiding today is hot.
Yeah.
And we're pronouncing windy correctly. Now, let's level up.
Let's do it.
Because we don't want to just sound correct. We want to sound natural. We want to sound like we belong in the conversation, not like we are reading a script.
This is where we move from textbook English to real-life English. In a textbook, everything is binary. The weather is good or the weather is bad.
It is hot.
Right.
It is cold.
Right. But real life has nuance. And more importantly, real life has emotion.
Tone and exaggeration. This is my favorite part. Native speakers love to be dramatic about the weather, don't they? We are rarely just content.
We're always freezing or boiling.
Always.
We really do love the drama. And using extreme vocabulary is a hallmark of fluency. The guide suggests moving away from very cold or very raining and using specific evocative words.
Let's look at freezing.
It's freezing. Now, technically, literally freezing means 0 degrees Celsius, water turns to ice. But in casual conversation, it just means I am very cold.
Right. You can say it's freezing when it's 10 degrees if you aren't wearing a jacket. It's totally subjective.
Exactly. It's about how it feels to you. It carries emotion.
And that's what connects you to the listener. If you say the temperature is low, you sound like a thermometer.
You sound like a machine.
But if you say it's freezing out here, you are a human being suffering in the cold. That invites empathy.
Empathy's the goal. Me too. I can't feel my fingers. Now you are bonding over shared suffering.
And what about rain? It's raining is fine, but what if it's really coming down? What if you're soaked?
Then you say, it's pouring.
It's pouring. That creates a visual. You can see the buckets of water coming down.
Or chucking it down if you're in the UK, but pouring is universal. And for good weather. Instead of just, it's nice, the guide suggests, it's beautiful out.
It's beautiful out. That sounds so optimistic.
It does. And notice the addition of the word out at the end. It's beautiful out. It's cold out. That's a very native quirk.
Why do we do that?
It just refers to outside, but we shorten it. It makes the sentence flow better. It's just one of those things that marks you as a natural speaker.
I also noticed in the examples that native speakers use the word so a lot. It's so hot today.
Yes. That intensifier so adds that layer of personal feeling we talked about. It's hot is a fact. It's so hot is a complaint or an exclamation.
It's an invitation.
It invites the other person to agree with your feeling.
And that agreement is what we are chasing. We are chasing that moment where the other person nods and says, I know, right?
Precisely. That, I know, right, is the golden ticket of social interaction. That means you've won.
Okay, so we have the vocabulary, we have the drama. Now let's talk about starting the conversation. You're in that elevator. You want to say something more interesting than just, it's sunny. The guy gives us some advanced conversation starters.
These are great because they aren't just statements. They are invitations. The first one is the predictive phrase, looks like.
Looks like it's going to rain. Looks like the sun is coming out.
Why is this so powerful? Because it invites the other person to perform an action. It invites them to look at the sky with you.
Oh, I see.
It creates a shared focus. You aren't just stating a fact. You are making an observation and asking for confirmation.
It's interactive. Looks like it's going to rain.
Yeah.
The other person almost has to look up and say, yeah, those clouds look dark. You've started a dialogue without forcing it.
Exactly. It shifts the attention from you and me to that thing over there. It takes the pressure off eye contact.
That's brilliant.
Another great one for when the weather is unstable is...
The weather's been crazy lately.
Oh, that's a classic. The weather's been crazy. You can say that pretty much any week of the year.
You really can. This is perfect for spring or autumn when it's sunny one minute and hailing the next. By saying it's crazy, you are treating the weather like a mutual enemy or a wild beast that you're both dealing with.
It's a bonding statement.
It is. It's almost like the Blitz spirit. We are in this chaos together. Can you believe this? It's crazy.
I know. I didn't know what to wear this morning.
Boom. You're in a conversation about clothing, about morning routines. You've opened the door.
And there's one more advanced phrase that deals with expectations versus reality.
Right. I didn't expect it to be this cold.
I didn't expect it to be this. Whatever.
Yeah.
Cold, hot, windy. This is a little more vulnerable. You are admitting a mistake or a surprise. I didn't expect it to be this cold. It implies, I am underdressed, or I made a bad prediction.
Which opens the door wide for the other person to say, me neither. I should have brought a coat.
It's a way to be relatable. You aren't perfect. You were surprised by the weather just like they were.
And that connects back to the core mission connection. These phrases, looks like, weather's been crazy, I didn't expect, they're designed to elicit a response.
They are conversational hooks.
So let's say we've successfully broken the ice. We've established that it's freezing or pouring or crazy. Now what? How do we keep it going? Because there is a danger of just staring at each other after that first sentence.
It's cold, yes.
And then silence again.
The source material talks about making the connection to feelings in daily life. This is the pivot.
The pivot.
This is the crucial moment where you take the conversation from the sky down to the earth to the people standing there. Weather discussions, as the guide notes, naturally lead to feelings and plans.
Give me an example of the feelings connection.
Well, weather affects our mood. biologically, psychologically. So you might say, this weather makes me feel sleepy. Or, I love sunny days. They give me so much energy.
That's a nice shift. You're sharing something personal, your internal state,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still linked to the safe topic of weather. It's not too personal.
Right. You aren't telling them your deepest fears. You're just saying you're sleepy. But it humanizes you.
Okay, I like that.
And then there's the practical pivot. This is the office coffee machine scenario mentioned in the source.
Okay, walk us through the coffee machine scenario. This is a classic workplace moment.
So Speaker A is standing there waiting for the coffee to brew. They say, wow, it's really cold this morning. Speaker B replies, I know. I wasn't ready for winter yet.
I wasn't ready for winter yet. That's the pivot.
Exactly. That one sentence moves the topic from temperature to readiness, seasons, or time management.
Now you can talk about so many things. Yeah, winter came so fast this year. Or, I haven't even bought a coat yet. Or, I'm planning a trip to somewhere warm to escape.
You've successfully transitioned from small talk to real talk. You're discussing shopping, travel, life planning, and it all started with, it's cold.
It's like a magic trick. You distract them with the weather, and suddenly you're becoming friends.
In a way, yes, it's about finding the thread. And to keep that ball rolling, questions are your best friend.
What are the best questions to ask? Because sometimes asking, what do you do for a living, too early feels aggressive.
Keep them simple and context dependent. How's the weather is the classic friendly opener. But if you're already in the conversation, practical questions work well, like, is it still raining?
Is it still raining? That implies you've been inside for a while and you're looking for information. It's a useful question.
It is. It frames the other person as the expert or the observer. People like being helpful. Yes, it's still pouring out there.
Oh no, really? I didn't bring an umbrella.
Now you're bonding over the lack of an umbrella. You're a team against the elements.
I love how all of this ties together. It's not just random phrases, it's a social strategy. But I know some of our listeners might still be feeling a little nervous. They might be thinking, okay, I know the theory, but actually doing it. My heart races just thinking about it.
And that's totally normal. Confidence is the final piece of the puzzle. And the guide offers a really comforting thought here. The low bar for success.
What is the low bar?
Daniel, the instructor, reminds us, you don't need a long speech. You don't need to recite a poem about the clouds. You don't need to be witty.
Just one sentence is enough.
Just one sentence is enough.
One sentence. It's cold today. That's a win.
That is a total victory. If you say that and someone nods, you have successfully participated in an English social interaction. You don't even need to continue the conversation if you don't want to. You've done your civic duty as a polite person.
And that takes the pressure off. You don't have to be charming or funny. You just have to be present.
Exactly. And to build the muscle memory for that so that you don't freeze up, the guide suggests a technique called self-talk.
Talking to yourself.
Yes. Narrate the weather to yourself. Look out the window in the morning and say out loud, it's pouring today. Or, it's beautiful out.
I do this. Looks like rain. It's so windy. My cat thinks I'm crazy, but it helps.
It helps because you are training your mouth to form the it's plus adjective structure without thinking. You are building the neural pathways so that when you are in the elevator, the words just fall out of your mouth.
It's rehearsal. You're rehearsing for the main event.
And let's quickly recap the role play from the source, just to see how simple a successful interaction actually is. It's not a Shakespeare play.
Right. So the guide, Emma asks, how's the weather today? Daniel answers, pretty nice actually. Sunny, but not too hot. And Emma replies, perfect weather for a walk.
That's it. 3 lines, no complex grammar, no deep philosophy.
So simple.
1, question. 2, answer with detail, sunny but not too hot. 3, connection to activity, perfect for a walk. That is a perfect interaction.
It sounds so easy when you break it down like that. Perfect for a walk. That's the pivot to activity.
It is easy. The barrier isn't the difficulty of the language, it's the fear of being boring or making a mistake.
Right.
But as we've learned, boring weather talk is actually polite social glue and mistakes. Even if you say today is hot, people will understand you. But if you switch to it's hot, you'll feel that click of fitting in. You'll feel the rhythm.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener? It means you have a superpower in your back pocket. The next time you are standing next to a stranger, you don't have to stare at your phone. You don't have to count the floor numbers. You have the ultimate key to breaking the silence.
You do. You have a safe, neutral, shared topic that opens the door to human connection. You have the code.
So here's the final challenge for you listening right now. Today, I want you to make one weather comment. Just one.
Just one.
It can be to a cashier, a bus driver, your neighbor, or, yes, even your cat. Just look at the sky and use the formula. It is plus adjective. Feel the weight of the it's. Feel the emotion of the adjective.
It's freezing. It's lovely. It's crazy out there.
Try it. See how it feels. And if you found this deep dive into weather patterns useful, if you're ready to stop translating in your head and start speaking like a human, then stick around.
We have so much more to cover on this channel about the secrets of natural conversation and the hidden rules of everyday topics.
Exactly. Don't let the conversation stop here. Check out the rest of the videos on the channel. We'll see you in the next deep dive.
Stay curious.
And stay warm. Or cool, depending on the weather. Bye, everyone.